What if one strike could do more damage to Russia's war machine than weeks of trench battles? Ukraine found out. This video isn't about another artillery exchange or another village changing hands. It's about targeting the brain of the Russian military, a high-value strike that crushed not just steel and concrete, but command infrastructure. Watching this will show you why some blows hurt far beyond the battlefield, because when generals vanish, whole offensives collapse. Let's break down how Ukraine turned patience into its sharpest weapon. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. A tunnel base carved into the earth should be impossible to touch. Concrete reinforced by layers of rock, hidden corridors running beneath the soil, air vents disguised above ground. It looked like the safest bet for senior Russian officers. But the very place built to shield them became their grave. The question is how? Russia has leaned heavily on hardened underground sites since the first months of the war. Artillery reigns over the surface, drones roam the skies, Western missiles lurk hundreds of kilometers away. And yet Russia believes a bunker dug deep enough can neutralize those threats. These complexes are meant not just for protection, but for command continuity. Generals set up inside with communications equipment, secure radios, and staff officers, believing that underground depth alone makes them untouchable. For Ukraine, the issue was never breaking the walls. Slabs of concrete and meters of dirt could delay even the strongest warhead. The real challenge was hitting the moment when those walls actually contained the people that mattered. A blast against empty metal becomes wasted ordnance. Strike too soon and you achieve only a hole in the ground. Wait too long and the commanders vanish before the weapon arrives. Timing was everything. Western intelligence support gave Ukraine the methods to watch these movements like a surgeon studying a pulse. Satellites scanned the roads leading to suspected bunkers, recording convoys that slipped in during the night. Intercepted communications caught the chatter of escorts and staff officers moving in coordinated patterns. Even shadows captured overhead, vehicles clustering or dispersing, signals surging and then cutting off, told analysts that senior figures were gathering. All of this fed into a picture: when the bunker was empty, when it was buzzing, and when it would be most valuable to strike. Imagine the dilemma on the Ukrainian command table. Missiles could be launched the moment a convoy approached, collapsing entryways, but maybe the highest targets had not yet gone below. Hours later, intelligence might confirm they were inside, but by then lines of escort vehicles could already be leaving. A decision had to balance the risk of wasting an expensive asset against the reward of eliminating dozens of officers in one blow. Ukraine's shift to a mission command philosophy allowed this kind of agility. Instead of waiting for top-level approval for every move, frontline commanders were trusted to act on real-time input. That meant when ISR feeds showed the right pattern, convoy in, communication spike, silence underground, they had authority to act quickly. Western militaries rely on this system to keep momentum in fast-moving operations, and Ukraine adapted it under wartime pressure. This flexibility set the stage. It wasn't hours of shelling that mattered now. It wasn't rushing every opportunity with a missile. It was holding fire for the window when patience brought the maximum impact. Some targets are hit many times and keep operating. Others, struck once at the right moment, unravel entire structures of command. That second approach required more discipline than firepower. The result was that Ukraine caught the bunker at the very point when multiple Russian generals had entered for a planning session. Days of monitoring led to minutes of certainty. When the strike was finally authorized, it wasn't a gamble. It was the precise alignment of intelligence, timing, and trust in the systems guiding the mission. The door was open. Now all that remained was finding a weapon capable of slamming it shut so hard that not even concrete and steel could hold. And for that, Ukraine turned to a bomb designed to make bunkers worthless. Destroying a bunker designed to shrug off artillery shells requires more than a lucky hit. It requires a weapon built to hammer through layers of earth, pierce reinforced concrete, and still detonate with enough force to erase not just the structure, but everyone inside. That weapon was the 900-kilogram JDAM. The JDAM, short for Joint Direct Attack Munition, is not a bomb by itself. At its core, it is a guidance kit. Old, unguided, dumb bombs, the kind that drop straight down and scatter wherever gravity and wind decide, are turned into precision strike weapons with a JDAM strapped to them. Tail fins and a guidance package give the weapon brains. GPS coordinates tell it exactly where to fly as it hurtles toward its target. That means no guesswork, no random drift, a missile-like accuracy attached to a steel casing that weighs close to a small car. Ukraine received these kits through Western partners, but with one important modification. Instead of the short-range versions, they were given extended-range models. These allow Ukrainian aircraft to release bombs from dozens of kilometers away. By the time the weapon slams downward, the pilot is already far from the danger of Russian air defenses. The result is the ability to strike heavily fortified command posts with conventional planes launching from safe zones. When you think about a 900-kilogram bomb, the numbers almost don't matter until you picture what it does. The casing is hardened to survive impact before detonating. Its guidance system steers with precision down to a handful of meters. Upon detonation, its blast radius turns everything within reach into debris. But more than that, its penetration power means walls and ceilings meant to resist shells become useless. It punches through and then explodes underneath, collapsing everything above. A tunnel that seemed indestructible becomes a tomb in seconds. The Russians trusted depth and concrete. That trust bred arrogance in this case. Believing a base underground could not be reached from the air, senior officers gathered inside without fear. Their assumption was built on experience. Artillery, rockets, even cruise missiles had failed to fully crush deeply dug shelters before. But reinforced walls are only as strong as the weapons they are designed to resist. Once Ukraine held JDAMs, the calculation shifted. When the strike took place, the effect was instant. Soldiers positioned outside saw the ground ripple under the shock. The screens inside Ukrainian command posts shook with the pressure wave as sensors recorded a detonation far stronger than typical rocket impacts. A thick plume of dust rose from the hillside where the tunnel entrances once hid. Within seconds, communications cut out. Russian lines that had been active went silent as command networks vanished in a single blow. Accounts from troops stationed further away spoke of the eerie pause right after the explosion. Radios went quiet. Orders stopped mid-transmission. Units waiting for instructions suddenly had no command structure. What followed was confusion. Operational plans scheduled for the next day simply collapsed because the men who held them had never walked back out of that tunnel. This was why the Ukrainians waited. One strike on a hardened command site with generals inside disrupted weeks of planning. Instead of dozens of smaller attacks, patience focused the damage into a single decisive moment. The JDAM was not just a weapon of destruction, it was a scalpel cutting through the brain of an operation. And once officers witnessed that underground shelters could no longer guarantee survival, the battlefield itself changed. If no command post is safe, every meeting, every briefing, every hidden bunker suddenly becomes a gamble. This strike was never only about one tunnel, it sent a larger message. Underground fortresses no longer guarantee safety when intelligence and precision converge. The collapse proved that strength on paper means nothing once timing and accuracy enter the fight. When generals fall together in a single detonation, offensives die before the front lines even move. The brain is removed, leaving the body staggering without direction. That is the true power of targeting command. If you want to follow how intelligence and precision strikes reshape this war, subscribe and stay with us.